Today we'll be talking about the levels in math problem solving. So I believe there are 4 levels when it comes to problem solving. The very basic one, the L1, is arithmetic calculation. This is pretty much what you get when you finally solve pretty much all math problems. That's the last step of a math problem. It's an arithmetic calculation. Level 2 is where you would call it as application problems, or what I call as formulaic application problems. It's pretty much an application of a formula. Level 3 is non-routine problems, and level 4 is super tough problems, which are typically seen in Olympiad exams. So let's go a little deeper into each one of them. Let's start with L1. So L1 is nothing but arithmetic calculation. This is what something, you'd get it done with a calculator or a computer with pretty much just following a simple step of. You don't have to know the answer per se, but just a calculator that's handy can help you solve this arithmetic calculation part. So an example of arithmetic calculation would be MathFact. What's 7 times 9? Either you know it or you don't. And if you don't, then probably you just have to follow a method of maybe counting with your finger or writing it down on a paper and eventually get the answer. Sometimes you have to do arithmetic calculations which are really tough, which you would not be able to remember, like what's 294 divided by 7, and you will have to apply a particular method, long division in this case, to be able to solve your problem. So I hope you get an idea of what L1 problems are. What's L2? L2 is just nothing but application of a formula. So an example would be like Elon travels 100 kilometers in 4 hours. What is his average speed? So you know the formula that speed is nothing but distance by time, and therefore 100 divided by 4, which is 25 miles per hour, would be the average speed. So this is an example of L2. Most schoolwork kind of limit themselves to this. L3 is where it's non-routine. So this is an example of an area puzzle. So there's a lot of facts given here, and you need to find out what's the area of the blue rectangle. To find the area of the blue rectangle, you need to find its height, because the breadth is given as 5. You don't know what its height is. But there's no straightforward way of figuring this out. Right? So you don't have a formula to just apply here. You will have to observe the field here. You will have to observe what's happening. And then based on that, you will have to calculate it. In other words, this is as non-routine as it gets. So it's completely non-routine in that you don't have a formula. There's no way you can prepare for this. All you just need to know is the very basic concept of what an area is, that it's length times breadth or height times breadth. But just that is not enough to solve this problem. You will have to think a little creatively. You have to look at it in a different way, precisely because it's a non-routine problem. Let's come to the last one, Olympiad problems. An example here, a small airplane has 4 rows of seats and 3 seats in each row. 8 passengers have boarded the plane and are distributed randomly among the seats. A married couple is to board next. What is the probability that 2 adjacent seats in the same row for the couple? So again, no specific formula. It's not even non-routine because it's so non-routine that it's outside of most people's comfort zone. But the only way you can solve this is through some form of creative problem solving, because these fall under the gamut of complex problem solving. All right, so what's the lesson to learn by just knowing all these different levels? So for example, you definitely need to know all 4 of them. You need to build a skill set at each one of them. It's not necessary that just being good at L1 automatically makes you good at L3. It's literally like 4 different subjects within math, 4 different topics within math. I meet a lot of parents who say, hey, my son is really good at math. And oftentimes he's probably really good at L2, which is schoolwork. But the moment you give him a problem which is a non-routine area, which is like L3, and you would see that he's not yet comfortable doing those kinds of problems. In other words, what I'm trying to say is each one of them is a separate dimension of math, and you want to get good at each one of them, right? And so I've just briefly mentioned what you need to do. For example, if you want to get good at L1, you need to do a lot of practice. So play a lot of math games, do a lot of worksheets. That'll help you get good at arithmetic calculation. L2 is schoolwork. So do your school homework properly, work on all the concepts that's taught in school, and that's pretty much what you need to figure out L2. L3 is where you need to enroll yourself in a math circle, in an enrichment class that looks at non-routine problems on a routine basis. Something like what we do in Zugzwang. And L4 is when you enroll in Olympiad exams. And when I say Olympiad exams, it's not the SOF, which is pretty much like, an enhanced version of schoolwork. I'm talking about the PRMO, the AMCs, the GAUS, the exams which really test you out. And the reason why you want to do that is, even if you can't solve the problem, sometimes you learn a lot by looking at the solution. When you see other people solve, you totally understand what exactly is happening. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.